A very pleasant day to you, and I welcome you once again on Newspaper Review segments. I am Kings Ojalo. I will be putting you through all headlines and highlighted story, interesting stories on all our newspaper platform nationwide. Now, starting with the Daily Sun newspaper, we have some controversial stories and headlines that will interest you, which I will be starting with the highlighted. Primaries, ADC, PDP orders await implosion in APC. Take that again. Primaries, ADC, PDP orders await implosion in APC. You find that in page 6 of that newspaper platform. Still on that newspaper, we have on the top, Niger Delta activists demand review of Executive Order 9. Still on that, on the bottom, we have rate cut chair fails as sovereign debt nears 158 trillion naira. We also have federal government AFC signs $1.3 billion alumina deal. You find that in page 25 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Now let's move straight to the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper, on the highlighted story, 2027 polls won't be 100% perfect. INEC chair warns 2027 polls won't be 100% perfect. INEC chairman warns. You find that in page 3 and 25 of that newspaper platform. On the top of the Punch newspaper, we have Army Major, 10 terrorists killed in fueled military base attack. Yes, that is a good story. On page 45 of the Punch newspaper. Now on page 24, Tinubu convenes police council today to confirm issue. Tinubu convenes police council today to confirm this. So you find that in page 24, just like I said. Now on the top stories trending around the world, we have Iran-US conflict may raise Nigeria fuel price. Iran-US conflict may raise Nigeria fuel price. That is an interesting one. You find that in page 8 of the Punch newspaper. Now we have so many pictures and diagrams which are placed on the Punch newspaper. So you go through the Punch newspaper and take a thorough look at the news which it contains. Now, at the bottom, we have school owners fear 700,000 Ogo students may miss WASSCE. You find that in page 8 of that newspaper platform. Still on that newspaper on the Punch, FG AFC Inc. $1.3 billion meaning investment deal. You find that in page 43 of that newspaper platform. Now going to the Nigeria Tribune. On the Nigeria Tribune, top highlighted story, Nigeria divided over opposition's rejection of new electoral acts. You find that in page 22 of the Nigeria Tribune newspaper. Now on the top, rate and result transmission, what we learned from FCT polls, INEC chairman says. You find that in page 3 of that newspaper platform. Now we have top highlighted story which is coming from the Middle East. US, Israel, Iran war. Escalation may increase fuel pump price. Manufacturing costs. CPPE warns. You find that in page 5 and 6 of the Nigeria Tribune newspaper. Now on the bottom right, power sector debt to gen cost may hit 8.8 trillion by end of 2026. You also have 13 banks where last minute megas, private placement, foreign partnership option. You find that in page 13 of that newspaper platform. Now moving straight to the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian newspaper, yes, we also have a diagram illustrating the prominent president which has been on the war front for quite some days now, which are looking at Donald Trump. We have also the late Iranian president and also the Israeli president Netanyahu. Now we also have on the top highlighted story, markets gentry as Iran conflict fuel supplies chain crisis. $100 per barrel oil rally. You find that in page 6 of that newspaper platform. Now we also have on the top, Obasanjo, Edun, hail Tinubu over Naira stability 4.07% GDP growth. You find that in page 4. Now in page 7, still on the top, court grounds NG Eagles jet freezes sale in $5.3 million aircraft disputes. Now from the IDP, US-Iran war, IGP orders security beef up as Shiites protests in Nigeria. Take that again. US-Iran war, IGP orders security beef up as Shiites protest in Nigeria. Okay, we find that in page 4 of that newspaper platform. Now on the bottom left, Delta in attack in Niger, communities raised to 15. You find that in page 13. Still on that, INEC plans mock presidential poll as Abbas defends hybrid result transmission. You find that in page 6 of that newspaper. Now going to the Blueprint newspaper, highlighted an interesting story which contains in the Blueprint. Protest in Kano, Niger, IGP orders red alert. AU ECOWAS caution. US-Israel strike claimed 101 Iranians, 747 injured. Iran hits back. 3 American troops, 9 Israel killed. Okay, that is a very tough and sad story coming from the Middle East. Now we also have on top 2026 UTME JAM uncovers exam fraud, syndicate to sack 3 staff. You find that in page 15 of that newspaper platform. Now we also have on business, Nigeria debt will reduce to 35% GDP in 2026. That is coming from Modi. Okay, we also have sports. Super Eagles friendlies against Judah, Iran in jeopardy. Yes, which has reasons occurred because of the crisis and strikes that has been happening in the Middle East. Now on the bottom, 2027 will be the best election Nigerians will experience. That is coming from the INEC boss, Mupita. Now going straight to the Daily Independence. On the Daily Independence, we have manufacturing sector bleeds as hot money floods Nigeria. Manufacturing sector bleeds as hot money floods Nigeria. 54% investment slump triggers fresh industrial push. Now on the bottom, Nigeria's e-visa system faces backlash over delay charges. Now on the top, Tinubu policy set Nigeria on path of economic stability. That is coming from IMPI. Though attempt by Aso Rock chief to poison Tinubu presidency says. Now going to the Matrix newspaper. On the Matrix, we have some highlighted stories starting from 2027. INEC rules out perfect election for now. 2027, INEC rules out perfect election for now. You find that in page 2. Now on the bottom of that, e-transmission glitches eliminated. 2027 will be seamless. That is coming from Mopita. We also have Yoga. NAS failed Nigeria on e-transmission of election results. Now on the bottom right, NDLEA snubs wanted drug trafficking kingpin after 20 years chase. That's a very interesting one there. We also have presidency debunk claim of poisoning attempt by kitchen staff on Tinubu. Now looking at another interesting story from the Middle East. Israel, Hezbollah trade fire amid escalating war with Iran. You find that in page 9 of the Matrix newspaper. We also have on the top, Iran-US-Israel crisis puts Nigeria oil economy on edge. CPPE warns. Now going to the Nigerian News Direct. On the Nigerian News Direct, on the highlighted, Iran-Israel-US tension pause wide for worsening hardship for Nigeria. That is coming from CPPE again. Says Nigeria economy face double-edged shock. We find that in page 4 of that newspaper platform. Not much on the Nigeria Direct. Now we'll go straight to the Daily Trust newspaper. On the Daily Trust, we have Iran strike fallout. Shati protest erupt in the north. Shati protest erupt in north. Now looking at the bottom, banditry over 300,000 displaced in Niger. That is coming from Bago. Terrorists kill 15 in fresh attack recently again. You find that in page 7 of that newspaper platform. Now on the top we have, we may not be able to achieve 100% perfect election, Amaputa says. 4 die in Katsina Ramadan alarm stampede. You find that in page 8 of that newspaper platform. Chaos at Lagos Abuja airport as fan begins cashless policy. That is a very tough situation happening in international airports. Now going to The Nation newspaper. On the Nation newspaper, we have on the highlighted story, ICPC recovers wire typing equipment from el-rufai. Now we also have on the top, what Dangote traded for Nigerians industrialization. You find that in page 19 of that newspaper platform. Now, not much on the Nation newspaper, going straight to the new Telegraph. On the New Telegraph newspaper, which is our last for today. On the New Telegraph, on the highlighted, Iran war, IGP orders hastening security surveillance nationwide. IGP orders hastening security surveillance nationwide. You find that in page 2 and 29 of that newspaper platform. Now on the top, we have solid mirror. Federal government AFC signed landmark $1.3 billion aluminum deal. Take that again. Solid mineral. Federal government AFC signed landmark 1.3 billion naira aluminum deal. You find that in page 29 of that newspaper platform. Now on the bottom, why NAS included both electronic manual transmission in Electoral Act by Abbas. You find that in page 6 of that newspaper. Now in page 2 and 4, Tinubu decision saved many states from bankruptcy. That is coming from Sule. Now that is all I have for you on this newspaper segment. Many thanks for listening, and till I come your way again, I am Kings Ojalo. It's a bye for now.